anything that I'm self-aware. Mm-hmm. But people who do nothing, who do zero, zilch, they feel like they're the best and everybody should follow them. I don't know if I'm being clear, if I'm being...
I kind of like...
I don't know how to explain it. Because there's some limits on what we can say on this. Yeah. Anyways, let's just move past that moment. Anyways, I do judge people who slack off. Yeah, I do judge them. But what is wrong with that?
Slacking off?
Yeah. What is wrong with feeling like I do nothing and I'm a bum?
Yeah. I actually have thought about this a little bit myself, right? There used to be a girl that I knew who worked in the building that I lived in. She was a security person, right? Okay. And I admired her because in her job, she didn't take it seriously at all. Okay. But she was focused in her job on studying every single night. So like she would write down her math equations, or like all of her schooling she would do during her security. Yeah. And then in her security job, she was
studying.
She was pretty terrible at her security because it was like a building security, right? Mm-hmm. And so like people had lots of requests, and so she would do the minimal work. Okay. Right. And I had respect for that, because she had a goal, mm-hmm. and she's like, my goal is to graduate and do very well in school. Yeah. Right. And so I'm going to deprioritize this work job. Yeah. So I admired her for her capability in making that decision and focused on her end goal and working towards this. And in this particular role, not doing such a good thing. Right. Okay. And so that kind of is what you're saying about like a person who's like, not doing nothing, but like if I'm at it, if we're working in the same company, right? Mm-hmm. And you're working less hard, yes, right? And you're quote unquote being lazy mm-hmm. in your job, right? My question to you is, why are you doing that? Are you doing that because you are just being lazy, or are you doing that because you're prioritizing other things? You see what I'm saying?
Yes. I think anyone who is actually lazy is prioritizing something, right? What if they're just prioritizing investing less energy and investing less energy on the job and just saving more for themselves? Is that still good?
I hear what you're saying there, and probably, right?
That's good.
I
don't think that's good, because if you were going to get paid for this job, if you were going to work in this position, yes, you have to just that's your contribution to society, regardless of what your position is, right? You have a contract and you said yes. You could have just done something else, right?
Sure, yes.
You could have become a lifeguard or something to have fun.
Yes.
But no, you decided to work in this company to get paid to come in from 9 to 5 and
sure,
just finish a few tasks. But when you prioritize yourself, your energy, you're saving more energy for yourself. Maybe you want to just go out after work, or maybe you just want to go home and not deal with a lot of anxiety and stress from work. Mm-hmm. Those are the people who I judge, unfortunately. But are they wrong? Do you think they're wrong? Do you think it's bad? Because I don't think it's bad, but deep inside, I feel like I do judge them. I feel like it's bad.
So you try not to judge them, but deep down you feel like you do.
Yes, that's the thing.
Well, one, I'll say it's, it's good that you're able to discuss that freely, right? Mm-hmm. Because some people wouldn't be able to say, I have this negative emotion down inside of me. So it's good that you're able to say that. So I just want to highlight that. Thank you. Is it good or bad? I don't know, because I'll tell you myself, mm-hmm. Have the capability of doing both. Okay. So I'm a person that I can do nothing. Mm-hmm. And there are some days I don't do a whole lot, right? Yeah. But I have that flip side of me that I can do a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And in moderation, it feels pretty good, right? But if you do it all the time, being lazy isn't good.
It's bad if you're doing it all the time.
If you're doing it all the time.
Okay. How come it's not good?
How come because
what if you still do the bare minimum? What if you still are finishing the stuff, but you can go beyond that without extra payment, without extra promotion, but you have the capacity to go beyond that. It's not unexpected of you to do it, right?
Yeah, no.
Would it still be okay or bad?
I don't know what to say it's okay or bad, but like what I will say is like me, anytime I work on something, I have this tendency that I want it to be the best possible, right? Particularly if I'm in a job and I'm given a task, right? Even if I'm being slow accomplishing the task, for me to turn in the work and say this is good, this is done,
because you care about it, right?
Because it's a reflection of yourself, right? Like
yes, okay.
And it's not even like a sometimes a reflection of yourself. It's like when I see something and I look at it, if I return it back to you and it's shit, I could tell it. There's some people who they look at something and they do the work. Like those people, like they don't know it's shit, right? Okay, but like if I look at this, I'm like, I can tell this is shit. It can be so much better.
Okay,
I feel guilty, or I feel like no, you should make this, as best possible.
Can you tell me why you feel like that?
Why do I feel like that? So it could have come from that when I was young, my mother used to say, I don't care. What was her exact wording? It was something on the order of, all I care is that you work your hardest at whatever you do. So whether you pass or succeed or fail, it doesn't matter, as long as that when you walk away that you tried your hardest.
Okay, so maybe I can say it. That deep inside your mind, you're trying to satisfy that picture of your mother.
Yeah.
Saying that you need to do your hardest, right?
It very well could be. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the question. With your mother in your head, judge another Andrew.
Sure.
It's exactly the same guy with the same potentials. Not you.
Not me.
Me. I'm another Andrew.
Okay.
Same potential.
You're another Andrew. Yes.
Yes. But I do the bare minimum. I do the task. I do it.
Yes.
But I have a lot more to give. But it's done. It is qualified. But I can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Would you judge me? With the mother in your head?
Would I see, like, I'm trying to not judge people.
Everybody is trying to, which is impossible.
But I do judge people, right? Like, yeah. And then you try.
That's for survival.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I brief side note. It's very important what you talk about. Like, the reason that we judge people, right? Like, back in the day, or even still today, right? Like when I meet a person for the first time, the things that are going through your head is this person going to harm me? Are they going to hurt me?
Yeah.
Are they going to hurt people I know? Right? So judging people, it's baked in our DNA.
Yes.
Right. So you bring up a good point there, like for survival.
It could take the wrong turn, obviously.
For sure.
Yeah.
Back to your comment, would I judge them?
Judge me. I'm another Andrew.
I'm another
Andrew. Not you. Not the 30-something.
But I know you have that capability.
Yeah.
I would probably, like if I was your friend, my advice to you would be like, hey, like I know your potential and you're not living up to it.
See?
Yes.
See? You are judging.
I am judging, yeah. Like, but
let's not think about that. How would you feel about me?
How would I feel about you?
Yeah. You don't have to be my friend. You just know another Andrew with all the potentials that Andrew has.
Interesting.
How would you feel about me when I'm handing in a paper or whatever, or I'm finishing a task, whatever it is? It is fine. It is fine. But I can contribute a whole lot more. How would you feel about that? Just your feelings.
Just my.
You don't have to say anything.
Yeah. So like my feelings would be like, why are you not doing this? Right. Like, okay. So like, do you have a stressful situation at home? Like what is going on? But are you just being kind of lazy? Like,
see? Yeah.
So like, I would have these thoughts like why do you have this mentality? Right. Mm-hmm. At the same time, like, I have friends that live in Greece. Yeah. Right. And, I admire their kind of lifestyle. Yeah. Which is like, you just like your whole point on life is to like enjoy, go out with your friends. And like, so like you go to work, right? And you do your job, but then you come home and you're out to 2 a.m., going to the beach, drinking with your friends, just having a nice, relaxing lifestyle. Yeah. And so that's very intriguing, right?
Because they might not have the mother in their head. Because I have that same mother, right? Because I know where you're coming from. I have the same thing in my head. But there's so many people that they don't have that sort of, let's say, parental control in their head. Yeah. Just due to their culture, just due to their way of life. Mm-hmm. And that is totally fine. I don't have anything against it. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily ours is the best, honestly. We might have survived some sort of adversities just because of those, but there's so many limits put on us, put on our mentality and our capabilities just because of those. Because we're not as liberated as so many people just because you feel like I need to do this instead of just feeling creative about it, right? But some people just don't have that. There's so many people, I feel like from European countries, just because of the cultures, based on what I've seen, they don't have the same parental control system in their head. I don't know if I'm being racist or not.
I know I don't think I'm being racist. Like not at all. No, I've even experienced this slightly, just comparing USA and Canada, which is in Canada people a little more relaxed. Yeah. Right. Like you get a job in the US and it's like go, and it's just the mentality of the people there, right? Yeah. Like it's just so much like I always felt there's just so much more pressure. Not even because they're pressuring you directly, but it's because when you see your peers and how everyone else is working, like they're working so hard. So then you develop this pressure, like you got to work even like harder, right?
Is it the competition?
I think competition's a big part of it. Because, from like working in the US, most people, and it might be starting to change, or it might be different, like what generation you are, or like geographically where you are, right? Yeah. But in general, like when companies I'd work for, right, or like people, is we had this consumer producer mentality, right? Okay. Like this business mentality, like a customer, like the customer's always first. Yes. You know what I mean? And so it was always about pleasing the customer, right? So I do think that there's just a lot more native competition in the US. And then like Canada has more that European, it has a slightly more European feel where their social policies, they have a little more a social safety net, which isn't a bad thing. Like that's actually a good thing. That's something I admire about Canada is that everyone has healthcare. Now, if the healthcare is good or not, that's a whole nother discussion. We won't get into that. Okay. But
please don't cancel my PR.
No. But it's but what I miss about the US is that aggressive, let's get this done and like let's break down the barriers. Yeah. It doesn't matter, just go after it, get it, and you're rewarded for producing results.
You're rewarded,
right? Okay. Like if you're seeing generally, not like there's good places and bad, but in general, if you're doing a job that exceeds expectations, you're rewarded, you're promoted, you're given more opportunities, right? Like, and you're encouraged to do more.
Yeah.
In Canada, it's
it is not as much. Yeah.
It's more about just keep the things moving out keep the lights on, right?
Yes. Yes, I get it.
That's kind of what it is. But what I admire about it is that people do spend more time like on their personal lives, or they're more focused on having that more calm lifestyle with their family.
Yes.
Or so I admire that part, right? So, and I don't know if you can get both, right? Like
you definitely can. These two definitely cancel out each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like the only way I could see it is if you were like, okay, like 9 to 5, I'm going to work like a crazy madman. And then outside of that, I'm going
to live in a fairy tale. Yeah. No, it doesn't happen like that. It does not. Unfortunately, in some medical fields, I've seen people, because I'm a pharmacy assistant. I used to be a pharmacy assistant until like 2-3 months ago. And, you know, as a person who wants to become a doctor or a dentist, you see a lot of people who work in medical care. It's interesting that you see people explicitly express themselves saying that it is not in my job description. And when your doctor is saying that, when somebody who is talking about your life, your physical health, you only have one body, and they can do something to actually make you treat you, but they don't, just because it's not in my job description. I don't care. That's when it hurts. That is when it hurts. So in some fields, it actually, I think it matters. Fields that I am more familiar with. But the thing is, you're right. That person, when they're not working, they could be the nicest person you see on the street. You can ask them anything and they're willing to do it. But at work, if it's not a part of their job description, they're not doing it, even if somebody is in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot of times, actually.
I've seen it.
There's so many great doctors out there. I'm not bashing anybody, but yeah, I've seen this a lot. It is happening a lot. The problem is everybody feels like to keep the lights on means that you're safe. Because if you go beyond that, you might be able to throw a party, but you're not safe.
Yeah.
In terms of a lot of stuff, maybe with regard to the legality of stuff or anything. Yeah.
I've for sure. If you take that chance and you step outside of the box, it's an inherent risk, right?
Yeah.
There's a high chance it's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
But there's also a high chance.
The downside is crazy.
Yeah, the downside.
Yeah, the downside is really crazy.
Actually, a friend of mine was talking to me about this, and he kind of changed my perspective, right? Because we were talking about like just how polarized kind of our society is, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying, well, I think it's only very small fractions of the society that have these extreme viewpoints. Right. And I was like, I think it's this 80% in the middle. Like, but I'm like, but my question was, how come these people in the middle, like, they don't talk about, you know, like, or they express their viewpoints, or, you know, like how come they're so silent, or there's not as much discourse.
Yeah.
And then he was saying, because in society, right, if you think about, if you're like, through generations and through civilizations, right? If you ever took a step outside of the box, right, then that's an inherent risk. Like you might be killed because you disagree with the group opinion, right?
Yes.
Or
you might become a hero.
You might become a hero, right? So people call, you get enough people in a room. There's the 80% of people. and what their goal is to just let like they want to stay in the bounds, they want to stay in the box, and they're like, I don't want to go here, I don't want to go here, I won't say this, I won't say that, because that's going to put me in this uncomfortable zone, and all I care about is I want to have my house and my family, I want to have a job, just leave me alone, right? And so this 80% of people that are not willing to go outside, he, in his perspective, he's like, that's the reason that like in Nazi Germany, right, that their policies were able to progress so far, is because the people in the people in the center who disagreed with those ideas, they didn't express them because they were too scared.
Yeah, true.
Right? And so that kind of changed my perspective on people, like groups of people, not individuals.
Okay. First of all, I honestly don't think that it is the 80% at least in